We have been warning you of all week about China as we continue our series China Threat tonight. We've been warning you about its efforts to ramp up its ability to wage global warfare, from its military expansion on Earth and even into space. We are now getting indications as to why it is so important that China secures its military dominance. It is now openly threatening the United States. In the Chinese Communist Party's official mouthpiece, the Global Times, it declared, China did, if war breaks out between China and Taiwan, as many believe it could, and if the United States gets involved in defending Taiwan, as our treaty calls for us to do so, then China's military will, quote, and this is a direct quote, will heavily attack U.S. troops who come to Taiwan's rescue. That, folks, is about as bold as it gets. So does Taiwan trust the Biden administration to protect them if China does invade? We go down to our correspondent, who is live in Taiwan for us. Keone Everington is here. Keone, great to have you on the show.
Good morning from Taipei.
So what is the feeling, Keone? Are the Taiwanese people there confident Biden administration is going to step in if they need to?
Mixed feelings because of mixed signals from Biden. He has publicly stated that the U.S. has a commitment to defend Taiwan. He said that at least twice. He's called it the Taiwan Act. But that was a slip-up because there is no Taiwan Act. There's a Taiwan Relations Act. And actually, the Taiwan Relations Act only calls for the U.S. to provide weapons of a defensive nature. It does not guarantee that the U.S. would intervene in the event of attack by China on Taiwan. But it doesn't relinquish that either. So it's a policy of strategic ambiguity, which Biden follows that policy, which is vexing because he doesn't make a strong commitment either way, which at this time makes many people nervous because the pressure from China is ratcheting up rapidly. Yesterday, we had 13 warplanes enter the ADIZ. Yes.
And that is threatening in and of itself. You know, I've got to believe the people in Taiwan are looking at the Afghanistan debacle led by Joe Biden. They're looking at what Russia is doing in the Ukraine. Are these all signs of what folks there that you're seeing and hearing are looking at?
Absolutely. People were extremely concerned about what happened in Afghanistan. And there are concerns that there would be, if the U.S. withdrew in the same fashion, seeing the disaster that happened there, it definitely made people very concerned, very worried. And as far as Ukraine goes, China and Taiwan are both watching that very closely because if Russia does invade Ukraine, they're going to see how Biden reacts. And if he is very weak on that and just kind of moderate sanctions, nothing really serious, that might embolden China to go ahead and try the same thing here. So people are definitely very worried about that. Yes.
I personally believe China's probably already emboldened. They know they can probably get away with anything with this Biden administration. I feel for the people of Taiwan. I really do. Keone Everington, I appreciate you coming on tonight and breaking this down for us. Thank you so much. So, folks, consider this. If you're in Taiwan, you're not as strong as China is. We live in the United States. We're stronger than anybody else, even with a feckless leader like Joe Biden. Could you imagine you've got a neighbor threatening to invade and you don't stand a chance against them? Unless you, of course, you have help from the United States. Well, with that, I want to welcome in now the Trump 2020 National Security Advisor and President for the London Center for Policy Research, retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Shaffer is here. Colonel, it's good to have you on the program. So I guess my question to you is, how concerned are you that China actually says we're going to shoot American troops if they get in the way?
That's been the intention all along. They're just saying out loud what we've known for a decade, Grant. Look, as your correspondent said, the people of Taiwan are watching carefully what happens in Ukraine. And I don't believe for a minute that the Russians are coordinating with the Chinese. They don't have to. The Chinese are making very clear what their intentions are. And Grant, look, I've been a military planner against China since the 90s. We have looked at this. They have stated categorically that their intent is to dominate the Pacific Rim. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're doing. And unlike under President Trump, where he talked tough and backed it up, there's no tough talk here with Biden. And frankly, at this point, because of the mixed messages, because of the Afghan debacle, there's zero confidence that there would be any substantive or coordinated effort to save Taiwan at this point, based on what's been going on. And look, Jake Sullivan's a complete moron.
Well, speaking of Jake Sullivan, let me play a soundbite from him, the National Security Advisor for Joe Biden, and get your response to that. Let's play it.
The United States is going to take every action that we can take from the point of view of both deterrence and diplomacy to make sure that the Taiwan scenario you just described never happens, and to try to avert the invasion and deter the invasion into Ukraine. That is the object of our policy right now.
Look, Colonel, if I'm not taking him seriously, I promise you Xi Jinping isn't taking him seriously.
Nobody. Diplomacy's never stopped a bullet in history. And as much as that's what they're saying they're leading with, that's what they're going to respond with, it'll do nothing to deter a bully or a committed adversary who wishes to use military force to achieve military objectives. So this is where it's good to lead and try to use diplomacy, use economic sanctions. But Grant, you and I both know that Putin in Ukraine, he's already planned around anything we can come up with regarding those little impediments.
Of course.
So at this point,
let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of just how bold China is. This is more of their statement that we talked about in the Global Times. I want to read it for you. Mr. Sullivan, talking to National Security Advisor, please be advised to sort out your mind carefully and think about what bargaining chips you do have in your hands to intimidate the Chinese mainland, which is determined to achieve national reunification and has various strategic tools to resist blackmail. Are they saying they're going to release another virus on the world? They're saying they're going to bomb us with one of their space intercontinental ballistic missiles? What does that mean, Colonel?
So, Grant, we have huge vulnerabilities within our own system. We depend immensely on space-based systems, GPS, communications. There's all sorts of things that the Chinese have been targeting, plus undersea. We have huge vulnerabilities within our supply chain. They know they can affect that. What we have failed to do is remind the Chinese of their own vulnerabilities. They depend completely on Middle Eastern oil. We could shut that down in a matter of weeks. They only have about 3 weeks of supply. They depend hugely on protein from the sea. We could make that difficult. And also, they depend a great deal on potable water. Their people do not have a lot of water. So these vulnerabilities we used to look at as potential lever points that would make a difference in deterring their behavior, plus the Indians and our other allies. What Jake is not doing is using the full array of what we can use regarding real direct influence versus diplomacy. It's completely insane.
I only wish, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, that you were advising this administration instead of guys like Jake Sullivan that do not instill fear in anybody, including my 12-year-old son. Lieutenant Colonel, great to have you on the program. Thank you. I appreciate you coming on tonight. Look, folks, the bottom line here is China actually feels like they can threaten the United States. You think they feel like they could threaten the United States under President Trump? Not a chance. This is Joe Biden getting us in more trouble.
Grant Stinchfield is on Newsmax every night, fighting for the America First agenda.